So glad you all are able to join us today. Was not sure if we would have many be able to get on with us, but was so happy to have Dr. Julia Roberts with us today. Um, and so just want to remind just that we meet each fourth Monday of the month at 10 a.m. We were not going to meet this month, but because Gage usually falls on this Monday, but they did have it earlier, so we went ahead and scheduled our meeting for February. Just glad to have everyone here today. Um, for our agenda, we have our welcome and sign in, which hopefully you've already done. And first on our agenda, we have, I was fortunate to get to run into Dr. Roberts while I was at a training in Frankfurt, and was excited to see her and gave her an open invitation, and she was able to join us today for our GT Cadre, and so happy to have her here with us. And so, Dr. Roberts, I'm just going to hand it over to you. She did have a couple of questions. I have those. Here's the two that I had that was sent related to, and any other questions you all may have after she shares with us any updates and things. But we're just excited to have you here, Dr. Roberts.
And I'm delighted to be here. The first, I'll try and answer questions. And of course, these are huge questions. If we had easy answers for these, I'd be a millionaire if I could share those easy answers. But I think if we're talking about instructional practices, it's going to be professional learning that is done with classroom teachers, because you all can't be every place all the time. And we all hear that gifted kids aren't gifted just a few hours a week, they're gifted all the time. So I would bet that all of your teachers expect to differentiate for children who aren't yet at grade level. Is that right? And that quite a bit of the instruction goes in that direction. The key is to get teachers to pre-assess so they know who needs that instruction and who needs more. And more does not mean more activities that are the same. It means tiering the learning experiences so that everyone in your class, a heterogeneous class, probably the research tells us at 7 different grade levels. So you at least need to be tiering for those on grade level, those below grade level, and those above grade level. So in tiering, you'll keep the same concept. You're teaching that to all of them, but the learning experiences will vary based on where the students show they're ready to learn. We can't learn what we already know. So when we are teaching in a heterogeneous class and you've got your gifted students or your advanced students who already know material, they're pretty bored when instruction is to the lower group of achievers. So pre-assess and then use it. And it really isn't that difficult once you expect to do it. It isn't coming up with 3 different lesson plans. It's simply changing a learning experience so that it's more challenging or less challenging. And when everyone comes together, they're talking about the same concept or topic. So ask me questions. I spend a semester on that, by the way. It's not exactly a 3-minute talk.
Right. I remember in one of your books, and I can't remember which one, you had like a wonderful grid I loved, and that I know some of our GT teachers would use, that gave choice. And I can't remember what the name was that you referred to it, but it had the multiple windows that kids could pick. So if they were a visual, or performing arts, maybe they were artistic. A lot of times in that grid was an artistic piece and how they could express their the assignment and those types of things. I do remember that being one of the things that had been shared, that was a nice differentiation for some of the kids. Um, what was that called
So,
exactly? I know
so Mary Tracy and I have called it a think-tac-toe board, but it's
that's what it was.
also known as choice boards. Now, the
Okay.
catch with that is that if
Okay.
you do one that is going to be easy for your students, they'll like that more than some other assignment, but it won't challenge them. So you really
Right.
need to do two choice boards, one that's challenging and one that's more challenging.
Gotcha.
But everyone likes choice. And if
Mhm.
you have learning experiences that are focused on your goals for that unit, heavens, I don't care if they do it with this product or that product. What I care about is they've learned it, right?
Right.
Differentiation that's effective is something that must be a habit. If you're only doing it some of the time, then probably it isn't what's going to make a difference in your classroom. But I mentioned a moment ago the research that says in a heterogeneous classroom, there's 7 different grade levels of instruction that are needed. That certainly speaks to cluster grouping children within a class, and you can regroup the clusters for different content areas. You all know well that you've got some kids who are so good at math that they need that high cluster, but they're pretty much on grade level with lots of other things. And so if the teacher is making that cluster within the classroom, it's really important to have not individual students at all levels, because that's an impossible job that we give teachers. Um, and that research that suggests 7 different levels within a heterogeneous 5th grade classroom that was done in both reading and in math, um, it's a huge study. And of that group, only a third of the students are at grade level or above, which pretty much mirrors what we're seeing in many school districts right now in terms of level of achievement. And as gifted resource teachers, I'm sure you're appalled by the fact that so few of the children are often scoring at advanced levels. But if we don't teach them at advanced levels, they're never going to score at advanced levels. Let me share some other things and then I'll come back and answer any questions as best I can. Um, some of you will remember the Duke Talent Identification Program that closed in 2020. Shocked me when it closed, by the way. But a talent identification program has 3 parts. The first part is above level assessment. The second is programming that matches the assessment. And the third component is recognition. And right after TIP closed, I called a colleague at the University of Iowa because they had done a statewide talent search for lots of years. And out of that came a consortium of individuals, kind of like me at universities, who were interested in talent searches. And we started TIP Kentucky, Talent Identification in Kentucky, completely in 22. Recently, Tyler Clark put together a map of students who had been involved in TIP Kentucky, and your part of the state is empty. And that makes me want to share with you why you would want your students to be involved in the talent search. We have two parts to the talent search, one for fourth, fifth, and sixth graders, which is taking a test plan for eighth graders so that you can see at what level of instruction they're ready to have in science, math, reading, and language arts. Um, First, we did it as a pilot with Russell County. And since then, we've opened it up, and that test is given in the school to, as I said, fourth, fifth, and sixth graders. And because of those scores that have been accumulated, some schools have moved on to offer more advanced instruction than they were previously because it provided data that let decision makers in the school see that there were children who were ready for more, who absolutely were not getting it. The other part of the talent search is for seventh and eighth graders, and that's with the ACT. That's what Duke Tip did. And those two ways to have your students involved in above level assessment give parents and educators information on what those scores mean and what would be options that those children are ready for. Do you have questions? We called it TIP Kentucky, but we have people doing it in other states as well. But it took us 2 years to get that trademark, and I'm not quite ready to start that process all over again. Did any of you have experience with Duke Tip? So it's not an unfamiliar concept with you. You know, one of the ways that I find that we can get principals and central office people interested in doing more advanced, offering more advanced learning opportunities is to provide data. And of course, the above level assessment is one type of data that you could use to try and get some more advanced coursework offered. So have I told you more about it than you wanted to know? I'm sorry if I did.
Oh no. With the like for the seventh and eighth graders, Dr. Roberts, um, do our like when they register for the ACT, isn't there something they mark when they're taking it in regard to GT? I've not done that in a where I'm not in the district right now and I'm at the region. But I remember when my daughter took it with the Duke Tip, there were certain things they had to mark when they registered. Is that still current right now? But is it specific to uh, the Kentucky? Is that listed with ACT?
So ACT during the pandemic had a total shift in personnel, and they stopped offering it to 13-year-olds, ACT to 13-year-olds and those under. And we, through the consortium on talent searches, have had quite a conversation. And yes, 13-year-olds and those under can now do it, but you would need to register through TIP Kentucky and then get the instructions on how to register. You get a ticket with some code that would let your parent register you for the ACT.
have a couple of comments in the chat. One from Kim Sargent. Tip made a huge impact on her daughter. It gave her that enrichment and learning opportunities needed to understand how she learned. And then we have a question: are there waivers for that cost for the Tip Kentucky?
The waiver is for children whose family qualifies for free and reduced lunch. Yes.
Okay.
It's not a total waiver, but I think it's $25.
Okay. Well, every bit helps. Is that something that we had Dr. Jennifer Wilson with us, and she got on and spoke with us. That might be something, and she went through a lot of detail. We have that as a session. That might be something we ask her to go through the ins and outs, or you can, if those are interested in hearing more about that. And I think there would be an interest because we have a lot of students that would definitely be interested in that opportunity. But would that be
It's easy to do. Jennifer would be glad to do that with you. Absolutely. I
okay?
just told her happy birthday. It's she,
Is today her birthday? Oh,
well, actually,
awesome.
it was 2 days ago, but
Oh,
yes.
okay. Well, we'll have to send her a happy birthday and say, hey, want to join us in March?
And she would
So
gladly do that.
awesome. Awesome. Does anybody else have any questions? Is there a certain time of year? Best I remember, it seemed like it was the February ACT. Does it matter when they take it now?
It's the February ACT if you want to qualify for our summer program called VAMPy, but you can take it later for other reasons. And for the state recognition, it's the February date that, but but the next date would qualify you for next year's recognition.
Okay.
So let me shift over, similar subject, but a little bit different. House Bill 190 passed the Primary and Secondary Education Committee last week, and I'm hopeful it will go to the full House. It is on advanced content. It was changed kind of at the last minute to make it a little less concerning to, well, so let me tell you what it is. It looks at, it would say that for 4th through 12th grade, districts need to start planning for how they will offer advanced coursework in the core content areas, starting with mathematics, with the idea that all kids who are ready for advanced coursework must have that opportunity. Down the line, what is hoped, and I'm kind of the one that has started this. Can you imagine that? North Carolina in 2018 passed legislation like this, but way more than what this initial law would be if it passes. And what they have done is say that all districts must be offering advanced coursework. They started out in math, and any student who scores at the advanced level on their state assessment automatically is put into an advanced course. And they have seen tremendous results, tremendous gains in achievement. That means that parents would have to opt out rather than opt in to that learning experience. So the person who is overgifted and advanced learning in North Carolina, and I've been friends for a long time, so we've talked about what happens and why it happens. Now, I'll tell you the pushback for House Bill 190 is that it would be expensive. And I don't think so. Sneha tells me that there are really no extra expenses. You have the same number of kids, you have the same number of teachers. You simply are working, putting kids in instructional groups for learning in various subject areas. I think, and I think you all know, that we have lots of children, young people in Kentucky who are really dying on the vine, needing advanced coursework. Is that true? And when our bright kids are bored in class, that's when we could see disruptive behavior. Because even as adults, we're not really good when we're stuck in traffic on the interstate or held up waiting for a long, long time on something. So I hope that you will speak to your legislators about the importance of House Bill 190, and I hope that it will pass, and I hope that in the next legislative session, it will get a little more specific. Currently, it is looking at students, I think I said 4th through 12th grade. It's more than gifted kids. It's anyone who scores at advanced levels on any part of the state assessment. And it's saying that districts are to have plans. It doesn't require it, but it, I think, would encourage the conversation to move forward. Questions?
Is the advanced level considered proficient and distinguished or distinguished only?
It actually was to be both, and
Okay,
at the last minute it was changed to be the top level.
okay.
And the reason, as I heard it, is that they thought there would be too many. I wasn't too impressed with that answer, by the way, but no one's asking me if I thought that was the way to do it.
Do have a question in the chat for you. Does the Tip Kentucky do the same time of curriculum special programs that Duke did?
Yes, actually, VAMPI was developed 40 years ago as Duke's first cooperative program. Then President Zacharias and I flew out to Duke. I got a call asking me if we would like to do Duke's first cooperative program, and I said only if my university was interested. It's kind of hard to imagine this today, but the president of WKU at that time went with me to Durham, and we observed the program and came back saying, oh yeah, we can do that. And we have done it for 40 summers. Yes. And I would tell you, and this, I don't know if your school districts offer physics. I don't know if they all have chemistry, but we have those as courses in VAMPI where you do the full year of physics in 3 weeks and the full year of chemistry in 3 weeks. So if you have a student that you think is really going to miss out on this, VAMPI is a wonderful opportunity for them. Of course, I think VAMPI is a wonderful opportunity for anyone who wants to learn at high levels. Other questions? I may be occupying too much time. Let me say
Oh, no,
one,
not at all.
one more thing. I hope that all of you are advising your students to take Algebra 2. It may be required in your district for graduation, but it may not be. And please know that any student who chooses not to take Algebra 2 will be doing remedial work if they want to pursue a STEM career. And STEM careers are of various kinds, but they all require that you have some basic high level, how do you like those words together? Mathematics in their background. So, any questions for me at all?
Feel free to drop it in the chat or unmute, please.
And please know I'm always happy to talk with you. Zoom taught us how to do this in a way that makes it incredibly easy. Um, it's maybe the only good thing I remember coming out of the pandemic.
That is true. I think Zoom is here to stay, don't you?
Oh, I'm sure it is. I would hate to do without it. But I would be delighted to talk with you anytime. So nudge me.
Will
Um,
do.
this is kind of what I spend my professional life doing.
Yes. Well, we will definitely be in touch, and I will check with Jennifer Wilson and see about maybe her coming on in March and maybe scheduling again in the fall for it being timely of being aware of timelines and things of
That
that
would be great.
nature. Uh,
Perfect.
one other question about the TIP Kentucky. So if a kid takes the ACT, let's say during the summer, that's a seventh or eighth grader, does that allow them for recognition if they contact you all about being allowed to do it? Or do they really need to wait for the February date
Oh, no, no, they don't need to wait for a date, but they do need to register through Tip
through
Kentucky.
you?
Yes,
Okay, all righty. That just wanted to clarify that. Okay, so if we have some of our GT coordinators, teachers, and they know they have some kids that would be very, it would be a great thing for them to take just to have that experience. They could go ahead and get that contact information. I think we even have a sample letter in our folder that Jennifer shared with us that they could even modify to send to them. Isn't that, I believe, right? There's a
yes,
sample letter you all have.
yes.
Okay.
And please
Oh,
note, summer programs are there for sixth, seventh, and eighth graders, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th graders. It's a wonderful time to find an idea mate, someone who's interested in the same thing you are. And as you all know, that's really important for children, and it's sometimes challenging for our more advanced kids to find that person. So. Well, I hope you have dry days ahead. Let's skip the rain. We've had enough of that. I'm delighted to share with you and look forward to the next time our paths cross.
oh, thank you so much, Dr. Roberts. We appreciate you joining us today.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Getting several thank yous. Awesome. Well, now that is very interesting. Some of the things she shared. I do want to ask if would you all want me to reach out to Jennifer Wilson and see about her being on here in March for us so that she can just talk through and kind of guide you all. I know she's been on before, but sometimes it's good to have a refresher. Would you all like that to have her back in March and let me reach out to her today? Yes, please. Okay. It just takes one. Oh, got a couple. All righty. We'll have her.
Yes.
All right. You too. All right. Thanks, Amber. I will reach out to Jennifer. She is really good about scheduling with us. So if she can't come at, because they're Central Time, if she can't jump on at 9, sometimes she will be able to jump on, or not 9. If she can't jump on at 10, she might can jump on at 11 with us. So I will work that out with her, and we'll have her on to just kind of talk us through and making sure we're all aware of those resources so our kids, because I know you all were sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, we have all these kids in seventh and eighth grade that that would be a great opportunity for them to take the ACT to have that experience, because that's definitely a different kind of test, we know, for our students, but to know that that could provide them with some opportunities if they would be willing to do it. We had several students that went to Vampy, um, and great experience for so many of our kids. And I actually have a slide for that for us here coming up too. But I will ask Jennifer Wilson. I will email her right as soon as we get off this meeting and work to get her scheduled for next month on March I think it's the 24th. I might be wrong, but I think it's the 24th. Well, I saw some more of you could jump on. It's so good to see everybody. If you did not sign in, please make sure that you do. And we'll put this recording in the folder so you can go back and listen. Um, I really appreciate Dr. Roberts sharing about House Bill 190 and those types of things. I know we've had people from Gatton and Craft Academy talk about how the students who apply for those programs they expect Algebra 2 to be taken by their sophomore year. And with the way some of the coursework is laid out in our high schools, that may not be an option. So that is part, I think, of this behind this bill as well, because we had a lot of students that um, Carol Christian had shared that were interested, but they didn't have the coursework that they needed to apply for Craft or Gatton. So just being aware that that is one piece, I think, behind that as well. Just want to, on the agenda, we had that checking in, and part of what I want to do is I'm going to hit pause here real quick, but just want to do a check in with you all. We've had this devastating flood in our region, and just want to check and see, how are you? Are you okay? Is there anything you need? Anything to share? Because had not got to check. I had emailed if you needed anything, but just kind of wanted to give you all a space to be able to share how you're doing, what's going on. Are there things we can do to help? Um, so if you don't care, I'll just kind of, if you can unmute and talk, that'd be great. Or if you want to type in the chat how you are, um, I'll start off myself. We were actually in Louisville when the flood hit, so we were not at home. We were in Louisville with our daughter, and we are in Pike County. But the church at the mouth of our hollow did flood again, that where they have a school in the basement, and so that has happened again here. We were without water for several days, and we did get it back. So working feverishly to do a lot of laundry right now. It was out for a few days. But as far as our home, we were blessed. We did not have flood damage in our home like so many in our area. But I will say this, if any of you are without water, would be happy to get some clothes and wash for you if you would need it. So I will say that for you. But if you all don't care, I'll just kind of call on you individually, and you can share, say you're okay, or things that are going on in your district for help with cleanup. Kathy, are you able to unmute? And Kevin, since you all are both Floyd County?
Hello. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Can you hear
You're
me?
good. Yeah, I can hear you.
Um, I don't know when we're going to be back to school. Honestly, they're talking maybe this week, but who knows?
Really?
We personally, we lost our business. My husband has been there over 20 years, and we lost everything. Um, so we've been cleaning that up, and the water was like over 5 feet in the store. If you go by in Stanville in Floyd County and you look over and you see the kitchen center, if you pay attention,
Yes.
there's some red awning. It got up to that red awning, so it hasn't
Oh
flooded like
my.
that since 1984. So we lost everything: computer, telephone. I mean everything. So, but we have our home, so we're blessed with that.
Oh my. I did not know that was your all's business. Are you all being able to reach out to some of the resources? Is there anything we can do?
There's not a lot of resources for businesses. Small Business Association did say something about a loan, but we're not going to take out a loan. We're just going to do whatever we can. Um,
Okay.
Take our time and he's working today. I told Mr. Sloan when I came in this morning, I said I had to come to work so I could get a break from
Bless your
just trying to
heart.
have some normalcy.
Oh my goodness. So you
But
all are not in school today? Floyd County is not in
no,
school?
we're out.
Okay. Okay. Did not
But just
know
pray
that.
for everybody. I mean, everybody's such a loss. You drive up and down, 23, you see people have lost everything that they own. And it's just sitting outside. So,
Yes.
a whole
Yeah.
livelihood.
Oh, bless your hearts. Well, we'll sure be checking on you, and if there's anything, let us know. Um, but so sorry to hear. Thank you for sharing. But if I see anything, I'll definitely, for small business, I did post in our GT Padlet. The commissioner did put out information related to flooding. So on the
Mhm.
Padlet, that information is there. I'm not
Okay.
sure if there was anything for small business, but if we see anything, we'll post it on there. And if anything in particular for small business, we'll be sure and send it your way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're you're welcome. Uh, Amber, you'd shared with me, but nobody else was on. Whenever you would had, I'm seeing you want. Do you mind to share?
No, luckily we were pretty spared in Knott County. Lots of, road damage that has caused buses not to be able to travel, but we're in school today, which we're very excited about. I'm not sure how attendance is. We still have several areas without water. I do know that has been an issue. Beaver area was hit a little bit harder than some areas. So again, buses can't travel to a lot of the haulers and stuff. We're doing main roads only, basically. But I'm actually at a school today, not in my office, and everybody seems really happy to be back. And I know all the schools checked in with all their students pretty quickly that week. I've not heard of anybody, losing their house and stuff. Last time, luckily, it didn't get in any of our schools. We had some damage to our new football field and track at Knott Central, but I think it's fixable, not anything tragic. Um, so we were lucky this time. My classroom was flooded the last flood. My school was the one who had 4 feet of water in it that I worked at, and so I feel everybody's pain. It's very hard, horrible time. But if there's anything we can do in Knott County to help anybody, we'd be glad to do that.
Thank you, Amber. Um, Michelle Wilson, you're Leslie County. Welcome, Michelle. We're so glad you're here. I don't know if can you unmute or
Yeah, I can. It's so good to
yay.
be here. I'm so excited. But we had widespread flooding throughout the whole county. There were a lot of different areas, and we're not in school again today. I'm not sure about the rest of the week, but we still have people that are flooded in down Confluence and are have the only way out is by boats. So that's and it's a lot of the kids that are here at the school that I was at, that I've been at, and now I'm district wide. But of course, this school will always be my school because I've been here so long. That's a lot of our families, and so it's just really sad and just unimaginable to think about being flooded in somewhere and you can't get out except by boat. So we're trying to focus on getting them supplies and different things that they need. And then just throughout the county, we've had a lot of people that's lost their homes. We have roads that have been washed out. And so just a lot of things going on and just trying to help people with whatever needs that they have. But we were blessed. Our community did not flood. So, we were blessed. But right now it's just a focus on everybody else and trying to get them what they need.
Well, now if there's anything we can do, please share so that we can help any way that we can. Bless your heart. I tell you, my we were driving back from Louisville. We went and seen our daughter again, and just seeing the devastation. It's like you said, everything gone. You can tell for some of our communities. So keeping everybody in our prayers. Thank you, Michelle. Casey, how about you in Paintsville? How are you all?
We are good. Our high school did get flooded in the basement. So thankfully well, it's a weight room for football, but nowhere else in our building. So that's good. Personally, like I'm completely out of flood zone. We had a couple students, their apartments get flooded over there by our baseball field, but we've got them set up at Jenny Wiley Lodge. But Floyd County has been helping our students a lot, so we are thankful for them. But overall, we are better off than our surrounding counties.
Yeah. Now, is Paintsville back in school today? I wasn't sure if you all were in session or not.
Yes, we are in session today.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Well, glad things are it sounds like improving for you also. Good to hear. Elizabeth, how are you?
We had some. Can you hear me?
Yes, can
Okay,
hear you.
I'm using my headset, so I didn't know. Some of the places flooded here in Breathitt, but not. It wasn't as bad as before. But just as we have some students that still like their basements and stuff, but it didn't like take out whole um, homes and stuff. Now, I think a lot of it right now, our students is ice. A lot of their roads have ice on them and can't get out. Um, and then we had some that was without water and electric and all that up towards like McGoffin County. Um, those places up in there, they didn't have electric for several days. Today was our first day back. We're glad to be back. Personally, I did fine this time. We had moved, so the water got up to our bridge, but we were still able to have everything. So I'm blessed for
Yeah.
that. And our football field, which it floods about every time it rains. So, but they done better this time. That they rebuilt it where they moved stuff up on top, so it's not as bad for that. But none of our schools got flooded this time, so that was great.
Oh, good. So thankful to hear. Um, good. So glad. Um, Tammy, how are you in Morgan County?
Get my video on. Oh, it's not coming on.
Well, I can't see you, but we can hear you.
Yeah, I don't know why the video's not on. So, Morgan County, there's no, I mean, we had roads covered, but no damage or destruction like what, that our surrounding counties had, thankfully. Um, so we are back to school today. I mean, we missed because of the flooding, but no students or families in danger. And our Family Resource and Youth Service Center coordinators have put together Stuff the Bus. And I know they've been in touch. I know I talked to one that had been in touch with coordinators in Pike County. And so we're doing a school district-wide donations, trying to stuff a bus with cleaning supplies and send where's needed. And I know the church youth group that my son goes to, she is specifically getting donations, the youth leader there for Floyd County that she's going to take up in a few days. So we're just trying to do our best here in Morgan County to help our neighbors because we have been blessed without a lot of flooding damage.
Well, thankful for that, and thank you all for helping. That's a wonderful thing. I think that's one of the nicest things about here in the mountains. We try to help each other, if at all possible, if we can. But thank you. Bless your hearts. Jerica, how are you in McGoffin?
Hi, we are good here in McGoffin. Our South McGoffin area received more water, I think, than probably any area in McGoffin. That's where my church is, Licking River Baptist Church, and it usually floods every single year that water gets up, but this year it did not. So we're thankful for that. But our church is also serving as a flood relief drop-off center. So cleaning supplies, there's lists on our Facebook page, but that's one way that we've been trying to help. Our pastor is actually from
Floyd County, James Maynard, and he's done a great job leading our community and trying to help the surrounding counties. But we're back in school. We actually were in school a couple days last week, so until the snow hit, and I assume we will be until the snow comes again. So we're good here.
Yeah, well, so glad, so good to hear. Yes, I think that was just the oddest thing. You have all this flood water and then a snow on top of it. That was definitely challenging, we'll say, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but so glad you're here and glad to hear things are you're back in session in McGoffin. Sarah, how are you all in Lawrence County? I know you all had some flooding. I saw some things online with it.
Yes, but similar to Morgan County, it could have been a lot worse. We were out all week last week, and of course, in and out since this Christmas break. I think we've maybe been to school 10 days. I don't know. But we have been blessed. There have been some homes that, have been destroyed, different homes and families that's been, not being able to get out. But we also have been collecting items at our board office, at the high school. Our church has been taking collections, and they actually had there was a member of our church that was from South Williamson, and they had a relief team that went there Friday. But the kids were out of school a lot, so we had a lunch and a food pickup for our children on Friday at each of the schools. Because we didn't know how long we would be out, even after, we were even questioning about today. So, it was nice to know that those students, were taken care of as well. But all in all, very blessed. My mom lives in Boyd County, and Route 3, I took the road from Boyd County to Lawrence County, and Boyd County was hit pretty hard too. But Lawrence and a lot of these counties south of us are very large and very rural. So Boyd County is more, they have a little bit more of a city atmosphere, so they don't have it as bad. But all of Eastern Kentucky is just it's resilient, and we'll be all right. But just
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so glad you all are back in school too. That's
yes.
wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Kevin, did you have anything to share? I know Kathy shared on her side. Was there anything you wanted to add? I didn't know.
Yeah, I was pretty. Oh shoot! I was pretty lucky. I live up on a hill uh, as far as me getting flooded, but our school, here Floyd Central and South Floyd, and I think maybe Prestonsburg High School have been like my wife and I've gone in a couple days to help give out supplies. We've had some companies that have donated, cleaning supplies and things like that, and our schools are letting the community come in and shower, take showers and cooking meals, in our lunch rooms and handing them out. The cars will drive up, and sometimes they'll want to shower. Sometimes they'll just come for meals, and we'll take meals out to their vehicle for them, or let them come in and shower, or they'll eat while they're waiting to shower and stuff. But we've had a lot of, nonprofit organizations, bringing supplies in and giving them out and stuff. And it was funny, the first day, the first supply truck that came in around noon, and our Frisky was telling us, because we went through the flood in 22. She had been telling us, at first, the first day, as soon as that truck comes in, that we'll get a big, massive amount of people will come in, and then for the rest of the week, it'll kind of trickle down. And I guess what the difference between the 22 flood and this one was, it's more widespread this time. This one hit so many more people because the trickle down on the days after never did happen. We still had, I think yesterday, 500 and some people come in.
Wow.
And so that's the big difference between 22 and, like, because the water in places that I know got up to about the same level as it did in 22, but this time it's more widespread. And Pikeville, Pikeville, Kentucky got hit, bad.
Yeah.
Like that area over there by Co-Run and just all those businesses through there. I can't believe how high it got. And like Kathy's store there, she was talking about, it's almost to the roof. I mean, but now we live on a hill, so we were fortunate. The only thing we ever have to worry about is mudslides, but thankfully it didn't happen this time. And I got a strong 17-year-old that's out right now it's like he's at somebody else's house helping every day. So I'm blessed to have such a good boy that's willing to go out and help. And I feel kind of useless because I can't lift anything for like a month, but I can go out. I plan to go out after lunch and help Floyd Central with the supplies and stuff here.
Well, you just be careful. Don't lift anything you shouldn't, because that we don't want you to be in a hard way. It's hard when you want to help and you have some like that when you want to help and you're having because you had to have your appendix out. Is that right?
Yeah, it hit me on a Sunday about 4 p.m. Just when it hit immediately, like I remember at 4 p.m. is when it hit. Because they asked me when I went to the doctor, like, when did it start hurting? I was like 4 p.m. It just all of a sudden it started hurting. But a couple of times before that, like maybe a month or two before that, I had the same issue. Had to go to the emergency room with my stomach, and they thought it was those like Zepbound shots, like the weight loss shots. That's what they thought it was. Because some other people had those issues too, and then there was a few months before that. So I'd had a couple of episodes where it was trying to, tell me, my appendix was bad and stuff. So I went in there at the emergency room, and the lady was like, we're going to run some dye. She said, I'm thinking your appendix might be, bad and everything. So yeah, that turns out that's what it was. And I went in like on a Sunday afternoon, and they ended up keeping me a couple of days because I had a mesh in my stomach, so they couldn't do the surgery like they normally do. So they had to go in like from the side and cut me a few extra times and stuff. So,
oh, bless your heart.
I was a little sore after. Still a little sore when I move a certain way, but I'm about over it now.
Well, thankful to hear that. You be sure to take care. You had a drop in the chat, said saw you, your son working on Facebook. He's a great man, just like his dad. And then also dropped in, have loved seeing all the students out working and serving others. This is a definitely a time to help our students with learning about helping in community, of helping and reaching out if you can help. That is for sure. Pam, do you want to share about how things are going for you in Johnson?
Sure. Johnson County is back today. They had been out all week last week, but they're back today. Over in the Davis Branch area, it's the area near the golf course there in Paintsville. It got hit really hard. Let's see. Then Casey shared about downtown Paintsville. That's all getting back to normal, as there's a lot of cleanup that needs to happen over there. Places along the river got hit really hard, like Airport Road. There was a lot of places there. Areas in and around Thialca and Thelma, areas down in there got hit really hard. So, we've got a lot of damage to roadways and things like that. But personally, I'm very blessed where I am, had no damage. So I live out in the county away from the flood zone. So I had a little niece that her house she lives along the river. So she got hit pretty hard. But other than that, we're very blessed over there. We didn't get it as bad as some of the areas. That one of the places you saw, like on Fox News, was near the Little League fields, and it was pretty bad there. But yeah, we had a lot of damage over there as well, but probably not as bad as places like Pikeville and Prestonsburg and those areas.
Yeah. For sure. Hey Kim, what about you? Share with them how you are faring.
Well, on a personal level, I mean, we had more property damage. We were, and everybody here at KVEC knows that we had our cars loaded and packed to evacuate because it was coming in pretty fast and kind of like we did at the 22 flood. But luckily, that night it stopped about 8 feet from our deck, and then it started receding about 2 or 3 hours after that. So we stayed up all night watching the water, but we've got some well, we had some areas that were harder hit in some ways, not as bad as 22. So like, for instance, of course, Neon had some issues with flooding and everything. And then we've had some of the hollows. That's the big thing. And you all know that because of your experience in the same thing. So just, I know that schools have been trying to get a hold of their kids and check on them and seeing how things are going and stuff like that. We didn't have school again today because they're assessing the roads and access. So, and that's what I was told. So that's the big thing that they're looking at and that kind of thing. So we had some areas, and I think when I say this, a lot of you guys will empathize with this. And the big thing about this flood is the reactivation of the trauma of the last flood. And I think that that is something a lot of folks are really experiencing. And so we have had an interesting week in Letcher County, looking on Facebook, the emotion and everything that's there. And so, and I think that's the big thing for a lot of us. And then I know for me personally, seeing the things going on in Floyd, Pike, and Johnson, like looking at those pictures on Facebook, I don't think it's humanly possible to think enough about you all, to pray enough for you all. So just like Mary said, if there's anything, just, and I know sometimes it's kind of hard, you don't know who to reach out to, and you don't always, I mean, we should just show, I feel like sometimes I should just show up and start working. And so one of these days we may just show up and do that because, but anyway, you guys, you're just, you're in our thoughts and prayers just constantly. Bless you.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Pike County, I know, is closed they're closed for the rest of this week. They've, of course, you all mentioned about Pike County and Pikeville Independent. They are still closed till Wednesday. They're closed Wednesday, up until Wednesday, and then they're going to reevaluate tomorrow and Wednesday to see. But I know a lot of you've seen that Pikeville High School was flooded. That's the district that I worked in and retired from. And so they are going to see maybe come back Thursday, Friday, but just depending on how things go today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. So bless their hearts. That's all I got to say. Everybody, it seems like everywhere you go, it's just breaks your heart to see all the devastation that's been going on for so many in our region. But we'll get through, just like some of you all said. We'll help each other and we'll keep moving forward, won't we, on this? I'll go ahead and start resuming recording because I just wanted to kind of take that time and let that be on pause so that, the open space there to not worry about that. But I'm going to go ahead and hit record again. And thank you all for sharing. Good to hear from everybody. Just want to go through a couple more things and then I'm going to have you all do some sharing out. I know there's a lot of you here are a great resource. And so I want to make sure that we let Michelle be able to ask some questions because she has some where she is new to her role in Leslie County. And so going to ask some of you all to utilize some of your expertise. So appreciate you all being here for that. But do want to also remind you that OSIL Spotlight on Best Practices, I know that's the Office of Special Education, but GT falls under that. And so if you have some wonderful things, please be sure to be sharing those awesome things that are going on in your district related to GT. And they will try their best to get that story with you all and share that out. So I want to make sure we highlight the great things going on in Eastern Kentucky. Also, just want to remind you about Kathy Anderson's consultant hours that you can go on and just ask her questions. You can email her anytime, which her email is there as well. She's a great resource for you, making sure that you have access to the one stop there that has all the information related to, like the sample SBDM handbook and the trainings for new coordinators, being sure that you get into there. If you don't have access to that, Kathy Anderson's your person to be able to talk to on that. Did want to mention, Dr. Roberts mentioned this, the applications are open for SCATS, which is for grades 6 through 8, and BAMPE. Those applications are open. I will drop those in the chat for you all so that you can share those and go look at them if you're not familiar with those. But some of our students, I know we've had several students go to both of those, SCATS and BAMPE. So that is a wonderful opportunity. There is some financial aid opportunities with that too on those websites. If you have some kids, because I know some of our students in our region are extremely gifted, but their financial means may not be such to be able to provide them with some opportunities. There is some financial assistance. So take a look at that for those kids and maybe even help those parents at times with that information so that they're aware of that. Also, you'll see that the applications open March the 21st for Camp Explore and Camp Innovation. Now, I actually did have a couple of students attend those, but that is not one that they stay. It's a daily camp, and so it's kind of hard for our students to be involved with those because of the distance where it's at Western Kentucky. But some parents, that's what happened. One of our parents, they just went and stayed a week with their kid. They had the means to be able to do that. Not everybody's going to do that, so that's your call within your district. And there is some financial aid around that as well. There's some things related to that. I did want to, if you attended the Gauge conference, what would you like to share with the group? That you learned, that you took away from it, because that is a great professional learning opportunity if you got to go. If not, just be aware that usually always happens in February. It typically happens on this Monday. This is the first year that I know of in the last few years that it happened. I think on, what was it, the 10th and the 11th of the month of February, but it always happens in February because this is GT Gifted Awareness Month. So I will pause and let some of you type in the chat or unmute and share some things. If you have links to things, drop those in the chat and we'll put those on the slide so people can get to them. But anything you learned from the Gauge conference that you would love to share out.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
So are you talking about Cage, like at the end?
Yes, did I say yes? That's what I'm talking about. The GT. What did I say? Gauge. I said
Yeah.
Gauge.
Okay.
Cage. Thank you,
We
Kathleen, for my
went to the
pronunciation
first
problem.
day of it, and then the next day we did virtual because we had to get out of there because that's when the big snow was hitting. But yeah, we were there. We went and stayed Sunday night, and then got up and went to all the sessions on Monday, and then we headed out. But there was a couple of things that was really nice that we saw. We still can't get it figured out though. We're with our person that does the Infinite Campus stuff. What's that called? The KCS or something like that.
Yes.
There, it's awesome what we saw. That we went to the session. It was about Infinite Campus and some of the things that we could use in it. They had a messenger thing set up in their Infinite Campus, and using ad hoc filters, you could, of course, tag all your gifted and talented students, and it would send a message to all of their parents.
Okay.
But we can't get it set up. Like we tried to get it set up to fix it because we were thinking along the lines of, hey, parents, we just wanted to let you know we just sent a permission form home with your students, that stuff like that, because sometimes when it doesn't make it home whenever you give stuff to your students, and just things like that, just to let the parents, better communication with all the parents, and that was awesome. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, we got to do this. And when we come back, we can't figure out how to set it up in Infinite Campus, and we've tried, and we just don't see how to do it. And I messaged the presenter, and she tried to walk me through it and sent me some screenshots and stuff. But we're missing something, and I don't know how it is. What was that other thing we liked really good, Kathy? You remember? There was something else. I can't remember. I took notes on it, but that's the big one. If I think of the other one, I'll hop in here in a second.
Okay. The messenger, who was it that presented that, Kevin? Do you remember their name?
Yeah. Well, I got an email here. She was from Bullitt County. Something Tomes. Tammy Tomes. I'll type her name in chat here.
Perfect.
Tammy Tomes.
So it's like there's a group messenger that you would have access to.
Yeah, me and Kathy. That's one of the steps too. Actually, is to make a group, and that would be me and
Yes.
Kathy. And
Right.
so Kathy would have access to it too. And you use an ad hoc filter. I've used the ad hoc filters before to find siblings, to phone numbers for field trips, for their emails, different things like that. This one will pull their parents. So I know how to do the ad hoc filter, but I just don't know how to set the messenger part of it up to where it will, you can hit a button and you type your message and hit send, and it sends it to all the parents. It would be great to figure out how to do that.
See, I don't have access to Infinite Campus, but that was something we used to, was part of my role. And I know a lot comes down to rights and permissions is one of the big things that it comes down to. And the Tammy tried to help you. I'm trying to think, who could we maybe?
Well, our lady here that has all the permissions, that's over all of that. That's one thing she said. She said, I've got every permission that you can have, because she's the one that gives us our permissions.
Right.
She can't find it. It might have something to do with the classic look versus the new update look. We're thinking it may be something along with that. So
Yeah,
we'll keep digging.
And
Has
more than
anybody else?
likely it's one little thing that needs to be clicked that you're
Yeah,
missing.
right.
That's what I found out on this. I also attended that, and I liked. She also talked about like batch printing of like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
report cards and all that stuff.
That's the other thing. Yes, we were thinking about how much time that would save. Checking over, instead of having to
Right.
click on each individual kid, it just pulls them all.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that because I'm like, do you know how long I've took doing all that stuff? And then this wasn't really, I don't know if she talked about this, but I finally got my district person to give me to where I can flag the GT students, and put I'd asked her like 2 or 3 times, and she kept thinking it was like, you know, she wouldn't give me permission to do it, or she wouldn't fix it. I'm like, okay, I sit at a table and like everybody at the table done it. I think it would be great that the teachers can just look at it and see it. And so I finally got that, but I've not got everybody flagged yet, but I finally got that approved.
That's awesome. That is a really nice feature, having the flagging ability so that teachers can readily see what they're gifted in. That's a wonderful thing.
I was going to
Awesome.
say too, on the flags. Now we've had permission for that, but on the flags, like when you have a kid that's gifted and talented in like 2 or more areas, see, we've got individual flags, and what's awesome about that is it will mouse over. You can mouse over, and it'll say GT art, GT music, whatever. But if they're in multiple categories, what we do is we just have a general GT flag, and so we select that, and then in the user warning, if you type in that user warning, whatever you type there, when you mouse over that flag, it'll say whatever it was that you typed there. So we'll go into the user warning and we'll put, English or language arts, math, science, whatever. And when you mouse over it, it'll say all, we got a kid that's in 5 different categories. So it'll say all 5 of them when you mouse over their flag. So type in that user warning. That's a pretty good thing to do too.
There's also something with attendance where we could look at
Yeah.
who was there before we went to the school, so we didn't know how to pull, but I can't remember what that was even.
That's probably an ad hoc filter where you can look at attendance when you go to pull kids. It'll show you who's there and who's not.
Hey, Mary, I
Awesome.
wasn't sure if those were going to open. I was also at Cage Conference. I also only got to attend in person on Monday because of the weather, and actually had to drive back Tuesday and did some virtual sessions on that Tuesday. And these are 2 Google folders that they shared with us. This 2 different sessions, and it just has like a ton of information that you can like do with your students. One was called Teaching with Rigor, Not Rigor Mortis, and then the other one was Proctals, I think. So it just had a lot of different things that I think all classroom teachers could really use. I think the biggest takeaway I took from Cage was that it shouldn't just be gifted people going. That we need some of our gen ed teachers to be there as well, because I think this is stuff that they need to see. It's a great professional development for them to get involved more, especially if they're teaching gifted students. And I'm going to make next year to my district is I would like, one person from maybe each school to go or something if possible.
Oh, that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? That would be awesome. I'll put those links on that slide and add that and take away the picture on my slide right there and add those links that you shared. And I'll also add Tammy Tomes, I think is what you had said, pronounced her name, and add, you said Messenger, Infinite Campus Messenger, and batch printing, I think is what I've written down. But yeah, that's all awesome stuff. What? Can I hear you?
They sent a link this weekend, I think, with everything that was supposed to be from the virtual conferences, but I have not been able to access it. I've actually emailed the lady back, I think her name's Sandy McAllister, because it's like a members only Cage page, and it's supposed to be able to get you to all of the presenters' information from Tuesday. But it has a password, but I still have not been able to get into it. If I ever get access to it, I'll share it with you, Mary, so that you could upload it to our
Okay.
tablet or whatever. But I'm not.
I also tried to log in and I could not get the password to work either. Of what they sent us, the password, it just says it won't let you on. I don't know what's going on with it.
Well, hopefully if you email the contact there, they'll be able to, it's probably just them. Kathy said I just got in. I'll just try to share. Okay, great. Try to share it with me, Kathy, if you can. And we'll just kind of add it to the PowerPoint, or if there's a page maybe even that we could drop in our folder. But they may try again, Amber and Elizabeth, just to see, because they may have switched something.
I was going to mention a session that I went to that was really good. It was one of the virtual ones. It was about AI, and that was something I really not worked a whole lot with. And they mentioned a site. It's Diffit, Diffit. And what you can do is you get in there and let's say that you are working with a 5th grade language arts classroom. You can have like you can do differentiation and have like a different grade level, but on the same topic. Like if they were working, I know with our reading group, with our reading right now in 5th grade, they're working on the Renaissance is the theme. So if you had a gifted student, then you could put a different article. It has an article, it has a writing prompt, it has graphic organizers, it has all kinds of things. And so that's a resource that I'm definitely going to share with the regular ed teachers. And I'll make sure that I put it in the chat group.
Okay, I dropped something in there, Michelle. See if that's it. Where you spelled it for me. See if that's the right thing. If not, you drop what it is, and I'll delete mine on that. That sounds like a neat tool.
Yes, that's it, Mary. That's the same one.
Perfect. All right. You're welcome. I'll add that to the slide too, as one of the things from so Diffit. I've got that on there. So add that. Does anybody else have anything? It still would not work for you, Elizabeth. Kathy's can get in, but Elizabeth still cannot, and Amber can't either. Okay.
I do have.
Yeah, it's just a blank. It acts like I'm getting in, and then it goes to a blank page.
Okay.
No, I have something to share that is kind of off topic a little bit, but
Okay, go for it.
and I don't know, how much influence you all have with the scheduling of Cage, but having it on after the Super Bowl is not. Yeah, that's
They didn't think about that.
I mean, I'm just saying, like we normally have like a big party, Super Bowl party, and invite family members and everything up, and just not being able to do that this year, I kind of,
For
is we spent our Super Bowl in a hotel room. Me and my wife did, so
same here.
yeah.
And I think I saw somewhere that they're having it back this same week for next year. That Monday and Tuesday of the last of February. I thought I saw somewhere, but I wondered if where they didn't have a director or something that they didn't get the hotel scheduled in time or something. Is the only thing I could figure of why
I bet you may
it
be
was moved
right
up.
because when I saw the dates for it, I was like, that is not when we normally have that because it's always been like that's why we do not meet in February is it's usually on our February meeting date. So did you see someplace you think I was going to look and see if I could on the website and if there's dates? I don't know. But I'll check. But yeah, Kevin, they usually, this is, yes, they changed the date back to the normal dates. Thank you. Awesome. And Tammy was able to access the link and see everything. So some of you have it and some of you don't. I don't know. Tammy
It's
and
not
Kathy,
it's not letting me on either.
are those of you that are not able to get on, are you all Gauge I'm saying that wrong. Cage. It's a gauge like Cage. Are you Cage members?
I am, and they gave us the password, and I'm using the password that was on the email, and it just does a blank page.
Yeah, I'm a member too, and it's not letting me on either.
You all just will have to email them and see what's going on because it's working for some and not others. That's really kind of weird. I do not know on
How would
that
they
one.
in? What districts are you all that weren't able to get in?
Breathitt.
Okay, sometimes
Leslie.
Okay. Sometimes some of those districts have different blocks.
Filters.
Yeah, filters. No.
That could be it. Not to wasn't able to get on. That might be.
Yeah,
We
I've
might
not
check.
tried it at my house, so I'll try it this evening. House, so maybe it'll let me because I'm actually in a school building right now. I'm not even at my office. Sometimes in the school, it's even stricter than it is at my office.
Yeah. Yeah. That may be part of it too. Sometimes the schools are locked down. As of right now, they only have 8 links available out of all the sessions. Okay, that they have in there is what Tammy just shared. Thank you, thank you. Tammy, did you have anything to share that you really liked that you took away?
Well, of course,
Okay,
that's what
thank
I'm
you.
sitting here thinking that it was just information overload and I don't have all my notes with me. And so I can't think of any of the names or the presenters. But I know I really liked when I sat in and it was on that second day. I went ahead and stayed there for the second day. And she actually had materials for us to look at. And Elizabeth, it's the
I
one
was with,
you
yep.
want the door
Was it
prize.
the arts one?
Yes, like it had the reading, the books, like a book, and then
Unlocking
it had all
potential
the.
through the arts. Yep.
And I'm really going to look into that because I'm fortunate enough that I do have some funding, and I would like to purchase one of those. And you purchase a grade level, so it's a box, a kit that comes. Elizabeth won a door prize of like a traveling kit, I think they called it, but it's grade level, and so it'll start out with a book, and then it will have all these related nonfiction books with it, and then it has all these art connections, all the related arts, performing arts connections, and I was just very impressed by that.
Nice. That sounds really nice.
So Elizabeth, if you remember, maybe you can put that company's name down. Seemed like they were from
Yeah, it
Louisville.
was Artful Reading on the Go was the box, the thing. Yeah, I was glad. I mean, I hate to say that for you people that left on Tuesday, but I won several gift
He
prizes that
did.
day. I won that box. I won the Trader Joe thing. I was like,
Ooh,
dang, everybody left, and I won all these prizes. But yes, I have the box. I'll type it in the chat if you want.
And Elizabeth, I was going to see if you would share, because I'm sure that we can make contact. The table that was there that you signed up to play something with students and
Oh,
get paid for it.
to play bridge. Yes, I
And
signed up for that too.
I feel like that we could reach out to that company or that
Yes,
person and still
it
do
was.
it.
It's called Jumpstart Bridge, and they
jumpster.
will pay you 300 and I think $50 if you sign up, and then you spend like I think it was like 16 hours teaching kids how to play bridge. And they send you all the stuff. I got the teacher's manual and the player workbook. And uh, what was funny about that was I didn't know what the table was doing. And I'm like, why are these people here playing cards at our conference? And yeah, they were playing bridge. It's free for teachers to sign up, and you get a kit, and they'll send you all this stuff, and you get a like that day I got a deck of cards. She said, go ahead and take a deck of cards. But I'm gonna have to read up because I don't know how to play bridge. So
I don't
uh
either.
No, me either.
but I thought, well, that'd be something maybe fun to do. But yeah, I've got the information on that. I can post in there or send you an email. And then I've got the contact information for that box of that uh and they were reasonable prices, like for the grade levels. What did she say, Tammy? Was it like $200 or something?
It was very reasonable, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was expecting it to be more like this take home kit. Well, here, I'll turn my
And
camera
didn't
on.
they
I'm
do it
sorry.
from, they did it, I mean, they had a kit, I know, like fourth grade, and through high school.
Yes.
So, and it was just so neat to me that you had all those materials and everything right,
Oh,
in
so this kit had wait, there's my camera.
Hmm.
This book in it, and then it came with a composition book, and it's got everything you need, like in here to. I forget where my camera is.
like a teacher's
There,
manual.
yeah, and then it's got the materials. I'm not really sure what all that is for,
Everything it
and it's
asked
got
you
a
to do,
violin.
it had what was needed.
Right, and
Nice.
then um, see, I'll find that. I had her card here somewhere. Oh, right here it is. Here was the lady. So I will. Do you want me to take a picture of it and send it to you, Mary?
Yeah, do that. Take a picture of it and send it to me, and I can
Here was
add.
it was collaborative teaching and learning is I think was the group that uh,
I put the link in the chat. Would you or Tammy click on that and see if that it's ctlonline.org, AR on the go? Is that the right thing?
let me see here. Yep, that's it.
Okay, so I did put that link in the chat, so that's
And
a neat
then
thing.
I can type in the Bridge Start Club. So I got
I
the
think Kathy
manual.
typed that in for you already. She
Okay.
found it. She was looking. I do
Okay.
not have a clue how to play bridge. That I think is
Well,
intriguing.
I don't either, but I thought that'd be something good for us to try. We'll branch
Yeah.
out. We'll get
Yes.
some tea and I feel like
There
I would
you
need to
go.
drink tea and
So
have crumpets or whatever.
Uh-huh.
when you click
Uh,
on the collaborative for teaching and learning, it's the artful reading. That's the session we set in on.
Artful reading. Okay. Awesome. Well, that sounds like you all
Now,
got a lot
what
of great
Elizabeth
information.
won was the on the go. So it was just kind of a smaller scenario, like a little smaller
Yeah,
box.
this one that she said was actually for parents to do at home with the kids. That so like Tammy, where you're working with the resource, I thought that'd be good. Like maybe the resource centers could do, but in the boxes that
Well, it would be good to purchase if you couldn't do it for everybody, do it for like just
like a
door
family
prizes.
night or
Right.
for what school level you said.
Yeah.
Nice. Those are awesome. Wow, you all, Elizabeth, you made out like a little bandit. It sounds like it too.
I did. I had to get well, and here was the other. Oh, I forgot. I've got one more thing over here. So this table, that was the other thing. I love all the vendors. So you could go to this, and like she gave me every puzzle. I had a whole stack of them. Of she's like, I have 200 books. I need to get rid of these. I'm like, I'll take them. So it was Beast Academy, and they have all these like puzzles and stuff to do.
What's it
Uh,
called? Beast Academy?
Beast,
Hmm.
Beast Academy puzzles.
Oh, okay.
Beastacademy.com is what's on the back here.
I just found it. I'm
So
typing it
she
in
loaded
the
me
chat.
down with, let's see, I had about like 6 books over there. Um, and it's different levels. So I've got like level 3, 4. I think it went 1
Hmm.
through 5. But yeah, it was here's perimeter, like an activity to do with it. So
Okay.
it was just some neat resources and the vendors. And I got all sorts of pens. That's what I love.
Oh yeah.
I love a
We
good ink
always need
pen.
pens. Always need pens and pencils in school, don't we? Always. I was always a good friend with my custodian because any extra pens or pencils they always brought to me in the room. So that is awesome. So what I'm going to do is on this slide, I'm going to go through and add the links that you have dropped in the chat and the names, and just like with Kevin and Kathy, where they shared about the messenger for GT. I'll drop that lady's name in there in the batch printing. But the flagging of GT students, I think most of you all are doing that in district, so that might be something. But I'll put that in there. If I was trying to think who we might could contact, I might could email Kathy Anderson and ask her who we might could get to come. And you you already contacted the Tammy Toms to try to help you through it, but it's like there's one thing that's holding you up, and I'm sure it's just a clicked box somewhere.
I will say when I used Infinite Campus, I was having trouble because I like for over a year. It was something about that new view. My Infinite Campus person was able to come in and if it was the new or old or what, but only one of them would work for like the batch printing and for me to pull those reports.
Gotcha.
The other one
So
wouldn't.
that it could be because there may be some limited capabilities in the old system, old view versus the new. That would make sense. All right. So on this slide, I am going to add, it might go into 2 slides from everything that you all shared because I don't want it to be teeny tiny, but to add to those, all the links that you all shared as well, just for you all to be able to go and look at and things that you all mentioned. So I will, I may email the Tammy Tomes and see about if they might could join us. If we have Jennifer Wilson in March, I don't know if I may try to get them to join us at like 11 to see and have Jennifer earlier and go with that. We'll see about that. If they would have time to get on and maybe try to troubleshoot or answer some questions about how to do that if you all are interested. But that's definitely um, that it's the quirkiest thing. Just one box not being checked can hold the whole thing up. Or like you said, maybe the view being in the new system, the new look of it could be part of the problem too. Awesome. Well, you all had all kinds of goodies to come back. Thank you all for sharing. Does anybody have anything else before we go to the next thing we were wanting to talk about
While we're
in
talking about
relation?
Infinite Campus, I just had a real fast question. I'm trying to get on and print reports and look at reports, and it keeps going there. It's an Excel spreadsheet instead of like what I'm seeing as just a regular report. Is there something that I can do to help where it's not an Excel, that it's just a regular report?
Anybody have any suggestions for Michelle on that?
Is there not a spot like when you go to the bottom and you do all the filters for your report, it only says that there's not one that says create PDF instead of create Excel?
I didn't see anything. I'll check that again just to make sure.
I actually just pulled up my Infinite Campus. I am in New View. And that's, I think, the only way that I can do those, large reports and stuff. And so, because if I go to reporting on the New View, it has like a whole reporting part for my gifted and talented, but the old view did not. I'm trying to get to it right now to see if I can find.
Does anybody else have? That might be it. So
I'm looking at the new view on Infinite Campus, and I, in the same way, it just pops up at, well, actually, mine does pages. It doesn't even do Excel. But then is that on the QA gifted and talented? Is that what you're on, Michelle?
Yeah, that's what I was on.
See, when I hit the detail report and hit generate report, it just automatically does pages on me. But then one time it'll do the other type of report, but I don't know how to switch it over. Sorry, I can't help you any on that one.
are you in the new view, Michelle?
Yes, I tried old and new, and it was still doing that. So, is there just like a training that I could do just on Infinite Campus? Is there anything on that you all know of? Because that's been a struggle for me.
Kathy Anderson usually posts stuff like a video of walking you through it on the, is that the 1 point or 1 stop or whatever it's called?
One stop. I think it's one stop.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get on there and see if there's something specifically for Infinite Campus.
Okay.
Thank you all.
You're welcome. There is one document. I posted it that has all kinds of information. I think it's on our Padlet that has some of the IC stuff, um, but yeah, in one stop or email Kathy because she could probably, she's really good about getting back with you, Michelle. If you have certain questions, and she could tell you where exactly on that too. But one stop is a good place to look and explore. Does anybody have anything else before we move on with like Cage? Maybe I can say it right now. All right. The other thing that was mentioned at our last meeting was how you're serving your students identified in leadership, because we do know in Eastern Kentucky we do have some limited resources, but what are some of the things that you all do in relation to leadership that is providing a service for students. I mentioned that on the email when I sent it. Tammy, I'm going to put you on the spot. You shared one time a really neat project you all did, and you used your climate survey data. And I think it was leadership kids, right? That I didn't lose Tammy. Is she still on? She may have had to get off. No, she's there. But she did some.
Okay,
You there?
I lost my connection, so I got too far. Okay, so what is it that you're wanting me to share?
You did something with your school climate survey data that we get back. You all saw there was like something with bullying, I think it
Yeah,
was.
yes.
And you
So
had was it kids with leadership, right?
I mean, you could it that way, but I actually just took was my 8th grade identified students, but it was a good leadership um, opportunity for all students. I was asked from my district administrators that they saw it in every elementary school that bullying or what they perceived as bullying was a problem. And so I went with my 8th grade students at that time and put them in small groups, and they prepared lessons. They did one lesson for K1 and 2 and another lesson for 3, 4, and 5. And we went to every elementary school and went into every classroom. And we had, I can't really remember, depending on however many kids you have or whatever, I feel like we had like 2 or 3 groups. And so one started in a kindergarten classroom, and I'd have another group in a 4th grade classroom. And we just made sure, kind of assigned them different classrooms. And so they went in, and they did some role playing. Some of the kids chose to act out a little bullying scenario and then talked about it. And for they found books, and we would look through the school libraries, and I had to get some from the public library, whatever books they wanted to share. And for the little ones, they read books and did little activities. And they had them each stand up and do a little like pledge. I worked with, we have a representative from Juniper Health that comes into our buildings. And so she'd send us like a little pledge that she does. And so the leaders would do the pledge with the elementary students that they would, just to promote good behavior, positive behavior, and against more like what, bully awareness, so that they would even understand what it is, because so many kids, and that's what we were concerned, that were the kids really being bullied, or were they just using that terminology wrong? But that was a really good experience. It was a good experience for the elementary schools, and my gifted kids loved it.
Awesome. Now, what was the resource you all used for your materials when you presented to the kids? Was there something you mentioned a name and I didn't quite catch that?
Well, I don't remember the materials, but we have like a mental health. I mean, no, I don't. It's a counselor from Juniper Health that comes in and does different lessons, and they have access. So it was just working with one of our community members to get a curriculum they had. And I don't remember that curriculum, but I can reach out and find out what that is.
Okay. That would be good for a lot of us to do with our students in the younger grades, that's for sure.
The kids do some research. They had to get their books early and practice reading the books out loud and think about what questions might come up. And so they prepared their little lesson, and I was very proud of them. And,
Awesome.
each group was a little unique to depending on what kids were in that group, and they all took it very serious.
That's neat. That's a really good opportunity. Does anybody have anything else to share that they're doing for leadership? We had on the Padlet, the Rogers Scholars and Rogers Explorers opportunities, and of course GSP, or Governor Scholars Program. Those are all things that are, just making sure those kids are aware that those opportunities are out there for them. I mean, you posting it and letting them know that it's available, but they have to take the initiative to apply for some of those things. Does anybody have anything else? I think sometimes is just making sure those kids are aware of some of the things that are available out there that they can apply for. I know some of us, we have students who cannot afford, but a lot of these programs like Rogers Scholars and Rogers Explorers are free. They're at no cost to the students if they get selected. For those programs, there is no cost to some of those things. So just kind of making sure same thing with GSP, that is at no cost to the students as well. Or if you have a little entrepreneur, that's another area where, those are not at cost for the students. But if we don't have anything else, I'm going to go on because I do want to make sure that we drop back in the chat for you all. I've got so many things open. I don't know where my
Hey, Mary.
Yeah.
I've been playing campus. Normally do it on my desk. It's the old view, and if you go up to the top, like where you can actually go to like index and just search for gifted, and it will pull up gifted. And then if you go down under that, it says reports, and there's a place where you can like custom gifted form batch reports. And that one will let you like decide what grades you want to print, if you want to do students. So like if you have just a school pulled up like I do right now, if you have it set up to where it's your whole county, you would be able to like batch print anything for all your gifted kids in the whole county, or you can do it by school. Like I could go here right now and print all of my GSSPs in one batch print, or all of my progress reports in one batch print if I've individually saved them to each student. I don't know if that's what they were trying to do, and it will make it into a PDF.
Thank you. I'll definitely try that.
Where'd you say that was at?
So like go to the old view of Infinite Campus. So make sure you turn off that new view. And then I'm just like under indexed up there at the top on the left-hand side, it'll say index or search. I just search for gifted. And then it'll pop it up. And then you kind of have to scroll down quite a bit under reports, and it'll say custom gifted form batch report or batch print. And then it gives you a way, like you can filter it. You can do it from certain dates. You can do it by the progress report, or you can do it by their gifted service plan.
Would you care to share your
So, like,
screen, Amber?
I can, yeah.
Let me
Hold
make you a
on.
co-host. I think you can still,
Okay.
but I made you co-host, so you should be able to. Let me stop sharing. And
This
let's see. I don't
slide,
know.
because I switched it over. Let me see.
You might want to turn off your camera so that where you're sharing, it might help with the feed of being able to share. So if you click share screen at the bottom, just click the little arrow. It should give you a choice of your screen to share. I'm sure you've done this before. I'm sorry if I'm.
Yeah, sorry. It's been a while though, to be
Yeah.
honest.
We were
Do
all
you see
very
it?
proficient. It's coming. It's thinking. There it is. Okay. So she's
So, like,
sharing
if
her.
you see, I'm under, so this is the old view, and there's that custom gifted form batch print. And then here you decide, do you want the progress report or do you want the GSSPs? And then you can go back like as far as you want to do them. So like, if you just want them, you should have all your GSSPs updated for the year. So you could just do it for like this school year. And then you can decide all students, do you want a certain number? You can even, I think, add in filters. This is by classroom. I wouldn't probably use any of that. But then you just do print forms, or you can do it by student name or grade. Like I said, this is just a specific school.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So if you have it set up where you're doing the whole county, it'll let you, sorry, I re-clicked that. There we go. See what happened. So then it'll pull up, like, here's this school only has 3 students, but here's each of their GSSPs that I can print in just one batch.
It's only showing us one screen, and I don't think it's letting us see you move it. So it's kind of like
seeing the pop-up screen.
No, I'm not seeing it anyway.
But if you get in there and play, that will do like a full batch print. That helped me a lot because, like I said, I was taken over as a new GT coordinator. I didn't even know who my students was. I was literally given a blank slate. So this enabled me to go in. I could go back a couple of years if I needed to, print out GSSPs from each student. And that got me going on, then meeting with those students and then, of course, forming their new GSSPs. And then you can also do that with their progress reports.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amber.
All right, thanks. Sorry, I just found that playing because I know nothing about Infinite Campus. I literally just kind of found it one day and I was like, oh, well, this is a lot easier than individually going and printing all these. So
yeah, that's a huge time saver. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
So like, I'm still confused about what they're doing with the old and new, because eventually isn't the old going away? And then I won't have a clue how to do it. So
yeah. And so that is always a challenge. Anytime something changes, it seems like anytime I get very comfortable with one system, they change the system to where I have to learn a new system. It's ever changing.
Yeah,
I feel like it.
For some reason though, my admin who is over our ICE could not get me updated admin rights in the new one. Like, so this was the only way that we actually could make it work to where I could go in and do like their GSSPs and flag access all the information, because our newbie would never let her update me as an admin. I don't know.
That's interesting. That's crazy. There's a lot of little quirky things with that, that's for sure. But thank you for sharing that. That's awesome. Hopefully that'll help. The last couple of things, and then I'm going to let you all go. Just a reminder of the Padlet that we have for you all. Pam and I work on updating that. Pam does a great job of helping get that updated. But if you click on that, that's the folder. The Google folder that has all the information. And so our recordings, I'm going to record this session and put that in there. Well, I am recording the session, and then the Holler guys edit it for us. And they will take care of that for us. Then the Padlet, that's what I was meaning to click on. The flooding resources that I mentioned are right there. The commissioner put that out in his email last week, so that has some different resources if you have people asking. And that column is really more for KDE specific, so trying to keep that more for you all in that area. If you ever have trouble finding the GT folder, right here it is under our KVEC column, and then also that GT program evaluation checklist that I made, because you all are going to have that annual evaluation that you do of your GT program, and I just utilized the regulation to form that, so that just kind of gives you a nice little check sheet. I love a good check sheet. One of the questions some of you asked was about funding, and so there's lots of little grants out there. in things available. Like there's the Walmart Spark grant that some of you probably applied for. I got that for a greenhouse back when I was teaching a science teacher to get me some materials to help with that. Donors Choose. I will say this, before you do any of these, always check with your district to make sure, that it's okay, and any stipulations they might have for you applying for a grant. And I say that especially on this Donors Choose portion, because sometimes there's some restrictions in districts about what is allowed as far as funding coming to your district. But you'll notice one I did want to draw your attention to, and is it at the bottom? Yes, this Voya Unsung Heroes grant that's due in April. And a lot of these are, some of them are open all year around, but these are some little grants that I am familiar with some teachers getting the Voya Unsung Heroes grant, but what's neat about it is you can get a $2,000 grant, and if you win that grant, then that puts you in a drawing for another level, not drawing, but another competition for another level. And I can't remember if it's 5 or 10,000 for the next level, but it's kind of like you can have a little dream and then a big dream if you have, with those. So just want to make sure you're aware of some of those grants. Some of them are more involved than others of making applications for, especially if we're looking for things that are GT specific with those. I'm trying to think. We do have some of those opportunities for students. January 31st was the deadline. I thought I deleted those. Sorry. Let's refresh that just to see if it goes away, because I thought those were deleted. No, I may have deleted it off the other one. Some of those deadlines have passed, so we'll have to go through the craft and the Gatton Academy applications were due. They're always due February 1st. The February Super Saturdays. This past weekend was the UK engineering date. That's always a neat thing to take your STEM students to, or making sure your STEM students are aware of it. And then of course STLP, all the things related to it. And then just some information for you, the Numeracy Counts Act. There's going to be some teacher and administrator academies, and there is an information session still on February 25th. If you click on that box, it will take you to that link that you could go in and listen in on that hour session. It has some good information of what's coming with the Numeracy Counts Act. OSIL News you can use. If you're not getting that, be sure to try to sign up for that. That is where Kathy lists anything that is GT related. Her department is in OSIL for GT. And so that is coming from usually Greta Hilton, that will share that out every week. And then I promise that is updated, the Gauge conference, but it shows it as the 2024. And that is, those need to be AP institutes, just making sure aware of those. There's your GT One Stop coordinator. If you click on that, that also is there for you. But just some different things. Oh, the Ted Weiss is a good leadership opportunity too. I know that was introduced. I think Tammy shared that, and that's a really good speaker in relation to leadership that some of you might want to do.
I know I have spotty service, but he's been coming to our district for maybe 15 years, 10 plus years.
Awesome.
And actually, I had a senior speak at our board meeting the other night, and she talked about how that was one thing that she was so thankful for.
That's awesome.
Going forward to it as her senior year. They get introduced to him in 6th grade, and then they see him once a year till they graduate.
That is awesome. That is a wonderful thing.
He does a very good job at connecting. I mean, from my experience anyway, that connecting with the students.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
You gotta have
but
that.
It does cost money.
Yeah, you have to have that funding.
Yes, yes. And there are some grants there that we were sharing that possibility for them to be able to share. Now, I think that is my last slide. Of course, the um, PL calendar that has things coming up here at KVEC and our monthly meeting is on there. Topics for us to share for next time. Oops. We do know I'm going to start deleting this. Let's see. We did the Gage share out. So we're going to see about Jennifer Wilson for next time. And then we also talked about for next time Infinite Campus and maybe the IT for Bullitt County. Did I spell that right? That doesn't look right. I'll double check that. I didn't think it looked right.
I think it's PT, Mary. Yeah, there you
It's
go.
what? There it
you
is.
go. You got it.
Got it. Got it. Thank you. Thank you for spell check too. Appreciate you. Funding sources, we did put some of those on there, and we'll continue to add those on the grants part so that you can go and look and see if there's things there that you might be interested in applying for. There's a couple of grants right now for KDE, but they are math and AED, I think is what those are for, getting on those. But anytime we see anything, we'll add that. The Kentucky Arts Council will have grants for you all to be able to apply for at times. We shared leadership opportunities. Is there anything else? End of year reporting. We didn't have more with the state cadre because they changed their meeting date. And I think Pam had shared with me it's going to be in March. So maybe the next meeting, you and Kathy will have more to share from the state on that. But end of year reporting, there's always going to be that end of year reporting that Kathy does. That's going to be available on One Stop Before Long, where she will have an informational session recorded to help guide you for that end of year reporting. And I don't think it's available. I don't have access to that now. But she will put a nice recording in there to help you with that end of year reporting of all the things that you need to go through. And then, of course, we can have time for you all to discuss that here.
Mary, I just got an email. I emailed about the Cage members only thing.
Yes.
They had sent out the wrong password. And she said, let me look back. It's Cage 2016. So I don't know. I've not logged back on to see if it works.
Okay. Is that all caps?
It was,
Cage?
it's not, no, it's not showing.
Okay.
Just lowercase is what it looked like.
Okay. So you all give that a try and see if that works for you. Ah, that makes sense. Thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
Anything else that you all have?
Oh, that worked.
Did it work? Awesome.
Yep. I guess the right password would, but I don't know how everybody else was getting theirs to work. Unless they had that password. They may have had the right password.
Maybe. I don't know. But that's interesting, isn't it? Huh. All right. Let me go see. I think that is the last slide. Our next meeting is March 24th. Like I said, I'll try to get Jennifer Wilson and check out with Bullitt County, seeing what we can find out there. If somebody could come on and maybe help and do like a little tutorial, and the IT person, and you might want to ask, I'll see maybe about getting them on at 11 o'clock. Because if we have Wilson on, she usually takes anywhere from 30 minutes to 40 minutes to discuss the TIP Kentucky. We can have the Bullitt. I'll see about them coming on at 11. And if you want to have your IT person close to you for Infinite Campus, that might be a good person to have beside of you, or have them jump on at 11 o'clock. for them to, if anything changes on that timing, I will email you all and let you know. I think that is the last slide. Yes, I went with spring things because I'm a little tired of snow. And thought if I used pictures, that might make it happen quicker, but it may not. Hopefully, it doesn't backfire on me. But just thank you all for taking the time out of your day. Does anybody have any other questions? Michelle, did you have anything else you wanted to ask the awesome people on this call, because they are a wealth of information?
I was going to ask about progress reports. That's something I've
Yes.
been trying to work on. If anybody has a combined document that I could look at, instead of having to give like the math teacher a progress report, the language arts, if they're gifted in different areas, I was wondering if anybody had a combined progress report that I could look at.
I use the one on Infinite Campus is what I do now.
Okay, and then do you just send that, or can they automatically look at that on Infinite Campus, each teacher?
No, well, I'm not sure, but I usually just fill it out myself after talking with the teachers and stuff, or if I need to, or I usually go on and look at grades and stuff.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, I'm really going to have to dig into Infinite Campus. That's something that I'm going to have to work on.
Oh yeah, that's a big one there for us. There's different ones. I know some of you are using the GSSP online. Any tips for Michelle, Amber?
I'm learning myself, but I have just been really trying to put all my GSSPs and my progress reports on Infinite Campus just because it saves them. They're there. I then do a batch print after I get them done to put in their folders. And then I'll also do an extra copy for their teachers. I take that to them in a folder for them to keep as well. And that way they can put any work or samples or anything like that in there if I try to ask them to make copies of that. But I'm very getting, started at this. I'm very, very new. But I was hoping that folder would then travel with them to the next grade and we would just build on it each year. So that they would have stuff and I go, check with them whenever I pull those students. I go and check and say, is there anything new in their folder I need to, make a copy of or grab or whatever. So some teachers ride into it, some aren't as much just because we've never done that. And then I'll also send a copy of their progress report in GSSP. I make sure that their parents also got a copy of that. So I just do a big batch print and take them to my individual schools when I'm going to pull my students and kind of take it from there.
Okay, so you give each teacher a copy of their GSSP?
I do. I mean, it's an Infinite Campus. I don't know if they can access it or not. I've not asked that. I know they can see their flag. Like I have each student flagged, and I actually made a note on the flag of click on that flag. It'll pop up. Susie is gifted in language arts. Or multiple ones or whatever. I just, as a leaving the classroom last year, that was something I never knew if my students were gifted or not. So I thought that was the easy way for the teachers to see it. Because I'm just now really trying to get that buy-in that if you have these students, they shouldn't be sitting there because they finish early, or they shouldn't be helping challenging them, or we need to be talking with admin or something we can do, move them up to a higher RTI group, or is there a time they can go work with, a 7th or 8th grade class if they're gifted in math in 6th grade. But like I said, this is very, very new. So I'm just trying to kind of figure it all out. I'm actually just getting, Roberts is actually my professor. I've had her for 2 courses and she has helped me tremendously with the ideas, and I'm just kind of playing to see what works.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much,
Well,
Amber.
that's one of those things. I know in the district I was in, we switched over to the GSSP online, And we actually did assign it to teachers to be able to go in and fill out their portion of how they provide services. But going in and doing it there at first, I think she did have to go in and as we worked through it, the teacher would share with the GT teacher, and when we would go in and mark it too. Kathy? Kathy, did you have something? Can you hear me? Kathy?
I can't. Sorry, I'm trying to see why I couldn't hear you. I apologize.
Oh, you're fine. But we had Tawny with us from Marshall County, and she shared with how to even get the GSSPs to connect to their report card to where you didn't have to, like, it would actually even show up on the report card for the parents. And so that's another thing. And I think, did we have Tawny at the first of this year or last year? I cannot remember. I need to go back and look because Michelle, I will put that in an email of where that is when we talked. But finding Tawny, she is recorded and in one of the past meetings, and she even talked about how they were able to get it to print to the report card. Has anybody else done that?
That would be great.
Mm-hmm. That was a really nice thing because it made it
Yeah,
to
I'm not
where they
figuring
could see it.
that one out.
Yeah, I'll include
That would
that.
be
I'm
awesome.
making a note of which recording. I'll actually put a link to the recording in there when I'll send you all an email after this, and I'll drop the PowerPoint in our Google Drive so that all those links that you all shared from Cage will be in there. So link to Tawny recording, because I thought that was a really neat thing of it being actually on the report card. All right. Anything else? I've dropped in the chat your link to do your feedback survey. We have actually went over. I don't know that we have ever done that before because we've talked about a lot of different things, and just so glad that we have had this wonderful time and a wealth of information and sharing. I appreciate you all for doing that. If you do have any questions or things we can help you with, please let us know. I'll work on getting things ready for our March meeting. But thank you all for taking the time to join us. If there's anything we can do, just let us know. And so just make sure you fill out that link. It should have things pre-filled, like with the ELA credits. Some of you will need the ELA credits, some of you won't. But that gives you, oh, yes, we spring forward. Thank you for the reminder, Kathy. We spring forward, and I'm loving the idea of more daylight in the evening. Woo! That is making me excited. But thank you all, and as soon as you get your feedback done, go about your day, and appreciate you all sharing and being such a wonderful group to work with. Thank you.